I want you to quit social media and video games. You must believe that they're good for you and they make you happy and that moderation is key. But let me tell you one thing, it is not that simple. In fact, these social media companies are working towards hooking you up. They have dedicated thousands of employees for this work and they make sure that we stay on that platform. We are up against this really formidable people. You might think it's harmless to play video games or use social media for 1 hour a day after doing hard work. But let me attack a belief with an actual fact. Researchers have shown that using cheap dopamine sources as a reward of your hard work actually destroys the enjoyment of your work. You constantly think about going home after finishing that work and doing something which will waste your time and give you dopamine, and you have no drive for your work and you live a miserable existence after this. Now imagine the lives of the people who indulge into these kind of activities for 8 hours straight. How much worse their lives are, and these evil companies have taken the drive and the happiness away from you. In the past, life was different and far from easy. Think back to the days of our caveman ancestors. They had to hunt for their food and faced constant insecurity. And as times have changed and become easier, we have something to replace that. The lack of happiness and fulfillment has become the disease of current era. Trust me, I've been where you are. I used to spend a lot of time on my phone. My average screen time was around 12 hours a day, and it turned me into a miserable person with no drive. I couldn't even sit at one place and do some productive work, not even for a few seconds. And I developed these symptoms which were resembling ADHD, and that's when I decided to change my life. And through research, I discovered this concept of dopamine detox. I embarked onto it for 2 or 3 days, and I was getting those strong urges, but the thought of returning to my previous degenerate routine terrified me even more. So I stuck to it and I've become incredibly productive. I genuinely started to enjoy my work. This was after the few days I started dopamine detoxing, and I realized how drastically different and beautiful my life has become compared to the one I used to live before I started dopamine detoxing. I was getting this feeling of overwhelming bliss, and I got emotional for a moment. And after this, I immediately called my friends and started telling them and explaining this concept of dopamine detox. This is how happy I was after I quit social media and video games. And these social media companies have taken away this feeling from us. And I'll admit, I didn't stick to it for very long. And I'm not perfect, I know. I'm not perfect, I know. And I will admit that I didn't stick to it for very long because I'm not perfect, of course. And I started using social media again. And I found myself miserable once more. Eventually, I left it behind and started doing dopamine detox again. Just imagine you living your work and life. This was seemingly a simple thing, but these tech giants have made it even more difficult in this era and these times. If you have liked this video, consider subscribing my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.